Gonna shove it.
Yeah!
He's gonna shove it.
Shove it!
Alright, shove it, squad, it's the Hawk. Now, I know I promised you the Edge video today, but man, did I underestimate that video. So far, I've spent 3 days, morning, noon and night working on it, and I'm still only about 70% complete. It's looking like it's going to be about a 3/4 an hour video. So instead, here's a video that was previously Patreon exclusive. It's the Cowboy, James Storm and Billy Corgan's NWA. For those of you who don't know, I was a huge fan of James Storm growing up and I really thought he had missed potential, so I was excited to see what he could do in another company aside from TNA. I thought maybe it'd be time for a company to build around him. Will that happen? We'll have to find out. If I sound a bit different in this video, it's because I was moving house at the time I made the video and the room was pretty much empty. So don't yell at me or I'll make you flee. Today's Ring of the Hawk video was a request by Caleb Robinson. Sorry it took so long, my friend. Match 1, NWA pop-up event, New Year's Clash, NWA World Heavyweight title match, James Storm versus the champion, Nick Aldis with Camille. Someone in the crowd screams at Magnus, give the Beatles their jacket back. Storm seems to like that one. This one starts with quite a long feeling out process. Magnus gets Storm trapped up in a head scissors which Storm eventually breaks and then they shake hands. The match speeds up a bit and James Storm starts getting the better of Aldis. Storm tries the last call, but the champion dodges and bails to the outside for a breather. They have a chop battle on the entrance ramp. Then, Storm uses a fan's boot as a weapon. Aldis turns the offense around by throwing Storm into the ring post. The ref is being really lenient here as they continue on the outside and Aldis hits a hip toss on the ring mats. They eventually get back in the ring and Aldis hits a top rope dropkick, not something I've seen from him before. The pace is now slowed down as Aldis hits a snap suplex. James Storm keeps trying to mount a comeback but he keeps getting shut down. The crowd are starting to turn on Aldis chanting USA. Nick Aldis kicks Storm to the outside but he doesn't get the count out win. As they come back into the ring, Storm hits a downward spiral from the ropes. Nice, not seen that one before. The Cowboy goes up top where Aldis cuts him off and gets hit with a second rope suplex. Storm suddenly hawks up and he hits an atomic drop and clotheslines. We get some familiar TNA offense with the kick from the ring apron and the running neck breaker. Storm wants to hit his super kick but it gets blocked, but that doesn't stop him and he hits a jumping DDT from the top. It's just a 2. Storm continues doing well with a double axe handle from the top and that's never looked better to be fair. Storm tries another one which Aldis blocks and hits an overhead suplex. Aldis puts on the King's Lynn Cloverleaf which seems to be his finisher in NWA. Storm fights out the move and puts on a Leaper's Fork Cloverleaf. Imagine naming a move after where you're from. I hate where I'm from, it doesn't deserve to have a move named after it. It deserves a bomb being dropped on it. The Bridgewater Bay Bomb. Both men are starting to get tired as they trade blows and can barely stand. Storm hits a couple of backstabbers for a 2 count. They trade blows again which ends with Aldis hitting his own last call super kick, but it doesn't look as good as Storm's, it's just a 2 count. Magnus tries the submission again which Storm turns around into a pinning attempt. Storm tries the Eye of the Storm which Magnus fights out of and randomly hits a tombstone pile driver. That used to be banned in the NWA. Aldis tries to go up top but he slips as he dives but he still sort of nails his elbow drop. Good match here. Aldis puts Storm on the top rope but Storm wriggles out of it. James gives him the Eye of the Storm for a 2 count. They end up fighting on the top rope again where Storm kicks Aldis in the head. A headbutt sends both men onto the outside floor. Both men then slowly raise their heads as they come into the ring. It looks like that one time Vince McMahon did it. They don't get in the ring though and they both charge into each other on the outside. The ref tries to end the match with a count out but Baldy McBull Baldhead, the owner of NWA, makes the match continue. Storm hits his last cool kick on the outside. He then gets Aldis in the ring and hits a second last cool super kick. 1, 2... Wait, Magnus kicked out of that. Oh, that kind of kills Storm's finish. The same move that put Kurt Angle away for the TNA World title in 8 seconds. Not sure if I agree with him doing that. Storm gets angry and he grabs a beer bottle. Magnus's manager Camille tries to square up to Storm but Bullhead sends her to the back. No beer bottle is used and the match continues in the ring where Aldis quickly rolls up Storm to end the match. They say this is a controversial ending but I don't really know what Storm has to be upset about. He could have been counted out earlier but Bullhead stopped that from happening. He also hit his finisher twice and he didn't get the job done so it's nobody's fault but his own. This match was good but it was just missing a 5th gear to get it into the amazing territory. The crowd were pretty quiet throughout as well. I give this one a B but I'm interested to see what else Storm does today. Between the first 2 matches, Storm won the NWA National title and ROH event, the lesser cared version of ROH, not Ring of the Hawk. Match 2, 6-man tag, James Storm teams up the tag team champions Bram and Royce Isaacs. They take on Aldis, Cabana and Mr. Anderson who looks 1,000 years old. The stakes in this match are high because if Storm's team wins he gets another shot at Aldis for his title. If Aldis' team wins, Storm must give Colt Cabana a shot at his national title. Storm doesn't wrestle the start of the match and he lets his minions take out the other team before coming in against Colt Cabana. He punches him in the face a few times and then he tags out. Storm next fights against Mr. Anderson. He gets an Anderson neckbreaker, so Storm runs and tags out again. Storm's not looking strong at all in this matchup. Everyone starts hitting big time moves, but Storm only hits a codebreaker before getting floored. Storm tries to hit a super kick whilst his partner assists, but he misses and hits his own partner. Magnus then hits a slam on Bram before Colt Cabana runs and does a Superman pin for the free. I have no choice but to give Storm an S for this one. He was by far the least effective man on his team. Match 3 starts without an entrance as Storm is brawling with a small chubby man who looks like the guy from The Hangover. They run around the commentary desk like some sort of wacky cartoon. It's James Storm versus Josephus. Storm has to turn around in the ring with his hands behind his back before the match can start because the man from Due Date is too scared. They both get in the ring and Storm kicks him straight away and the match is over. It wasn't much of a match at all, but it's a D. At least the crowd cared a lot about Storm here. Match 4, National Heavyweight title. The challenger Colt Cabana with Old Man Anderson versus the champion James Storm with Eli Drake. Colt scores the first knockdown with a shoulder. Cabana is just having a good time messing around with Storm. He has such an unorthodox style. Storm catches him with a knee in the corner and then hits a big DDT in the corner. James Storm starts working on his legs with a vicious attack. Storm tries a dive but Cabana gets his foot up. Storm catches his foot and he looks like he's in trouble, but Colt kicks him with the free leg. I like that one. Colt hits a head scissors but he can't put the Cowboy away. Storm then misses a dive in the corner as Colt rolls him up for another 2 count. Lots of unique stuff in this match as Storm hits a TKO across the ropes and kicks Colt off the apron. Seconds later in the ring, Storm catches Cabana with a top rope elbow drop, but somehow Colt gets his shoulder up. Storm stacks him on the rope and hits Colt so hard that he hurts his own hand. Colt manages to fight him off and tries to dive onto Storm, but he rolls away at the last second. Colt then does a bunny hop and splashes Storm. I had no idea these two would have matched up so well. Cabana looks like he's mounting some offense, but Storm quickly shuts him down with a backstabber. Storm starts doing these spin kicks that I don't remember him doing normally, and he also hits the eye of the Storm with another spin move. It's just a 2. Drake tells Storm to set up for the last call super kick, but then there's a big fight going on the outside. I barely see what happens, but Colt wins with the Superman pin thing. This match was much shorter than the Aldis match, but for some reason it was more enjoyable. This one's a B also. Match 5, NWA Into the Fire, 2 out of 3 falls match for the heavyweight title. The challenger James Storm versus the champion Nick Aldis. This one should be good. Aldis hits a big shoulder tackle to take down Storm, but he stops him quickly and trips Magnus up. They seem pretty even in the early going. The lovely Camille turns up, who is normally with Aldis, but he tells her to go to the back, which is unusual as she normally stays with him. Aldis is distracted, and as he turns around, Storm hits him with the last call for the free. Shades of when Storm won the heavyweight title in TNA. That's one fall down. The next fall goes outside the ring with Storm sending Aldis into the steps. He seems to have a bad leg now. They head up the steps into the crowd, but they can't do much because the crowd is too tight. Storm gives Aldis a suplex on the outside of the ring and he wants to take the count of victory, but Aldis makes it in at 9. Storm immediately chucks him out the ring again. Back on the outside, Aldis reverses an Irish whip and sends Storm into a Christmas tree, but the camera kinda misses it. This gets a Merry Christmas chant from the crowd. Wade Barrett on commentary says he might get electrocuted. I don't think that's how Christmas trees work, Wade. I'm getting flashbacks to that one TNA match with the barbed wire Christmas tree. I need to get TNA off my mind. They do get back in the ring as Aldis finally fights back with an overhead suplex. It doesn't keep Storm down as he hits Aldis with the Eye of the Storm. James Storm starts getting angry and he gets a chair. Referee Tim Storm tries to stop James Storm and he succeeds. Whilst that's going on, Aldis has recovered and they start trading pinfalls. Aldis succeeds and beats Storm to win the second fall. Aldis starts the third fall with a Michinoku driver for a 2 count. I always love seeing that move. Storm tries to hit a backstabber but it doesn't work. Then he tries it again and it still doesn't work. Storm is certainly persistent and he tries a 3rd time and manages it. Storm wants to follow it up with a dive but Aldis cuts him off. Nick Aldis gives him a suplex from the second rope. Then he tries another one but Storm fights it off and hits an elbow drop for a 2. Storm almost rolls Aldis up with a small package and then he puts on the figure 4 leg lock. Not a move I would normally associate with the Cowboy. Aldis turns it around reversing the pressure but Storm makes the ropes. James Storm starts running around and he tries a float over in the corner which Magnus blocks and nails him with the Tombstone Pile Driver. Aldis then goes up top to hit the elbow drop and this time he doesn't slip. The Cowboy seems to be feeling his neck now. Aldis doesn't care though and he shows him no mercy. Then there's a ref bump as Aldis takes out the referee. Nick Aldis hits Storm with a DDT. This ref bump gets a large pop from the crowd. I guess they don't usually have ref bumps in the traditional NWA. Tim Storm replaces the referee. James Storm quickly rolls up Aldis and it really looks like a free, but apparently it's not. I guess the first bit was Tim Storm's big body crashing to the ground. It made it sound like the first count. James Storm hits the super kick which Aldis no-sells and he starts trying to undo the turnbuckle pad. The Cowboy rolls him up and Aldis kicks him off, sending him into the exposed turnbuckle. Nick Aldis then puts on the King's Lynn Cloverleaf and the match is declared over as the Cowboy is knocked out. I've just realised that the whole time in TNA I thought this move was called the King's Land Cloverleaf, but it turns out it was just them pronouncing King's Lynn wrong. So the match ends in controversy. This was better than their last clash, and at least James Storm was protected as he passed out, so I'm giving this an A. I really enjoyed it. Match 6, James Storm vs Royce Isaacs with May Valentine. This match is pretty much the same as the Hangover match from earlier. Royce doesn't want to get in the ring, so Storm has to collect him. Storm wants to hit the super kick, but Royce bails and gets counted out. I guess he was horny. Storm fires the crowd up as they do the 10 count to count out Isaacs. This is pretty funny and the crowd really loved it. It's a D for entertainment, I guess. Match 7, James Storm and Eli Drake versus Colt Cabana and Old Man Anderson. Anderson doesn't even seem to do his mic drop entrance anymore. It's just sad to watch. Eli Drake starts out of Cabana, who keeps getting the better of him. Anderson then tags himself in and James Storm joins the match as he scores a double team knockdown. Alderson tries to send Storm out the ring, but he skins the cat and comes back in with a Hurricanrana. Alderson then takes a shortcut and turns the match around in his team's favour. That doesn't last though, and Storm gives Alderson an enziguri and he tags out the match. There's a double down as Storm wants the tag, but Anderson takes him off the ring apron. It then looks like Anderson slams Storm's foot into the steps on the outside, but the camera misses it. Colt gets a 2 count and then randomly Old Man Anderson grabs the referee, so that gets their team disqualified. Storm's team wins. I can't give this match a high grade because Storm barely did anything and it wasn't really a fun match either. It's an S. It's depressing watching Alderson look like this too. Not Storm's fault though, is it? Match 8, NWA Hard Times. 3-way for the tag titles. The challengers Latimer, aka Bram and Isaacs with Camille and May Valentine. They've got some nice women on NWA. I'm surprised about this. Well, one of them gets sent to the back, so now they only have one nice woman. The other challengers are James Storm and Eli Drake. Storm's really feeling his entrance music here. Well, he does normally have good entrance songs to be fair. The champions are the Rock and Roll Express, rolling back the years, or maybe they're an embarrassment. Let's find out. James Storm gets clubbed from behind by Isaacs and he gets beaten down in the corner. Storm tries to start a comeback, but Bram shuts him down. Isaac comes into the match now and he gives the Cowboy a snap slam for a 2. Bram back in now and he tries a powerbomb which Storm keeps fighting off. Instead, Bram pummels him in the gut and in the kidneys. James Storm then thinks he's made the tag, but the ref misses it and then he gets clotheslined down. Suddenly, Storm fights back with a weak slam, then he jumps over Robert Gibson and hits the code breaker. It was really dramatic for no reason at all. Storm finally makes the tag to Eli after almost 10 minutes of being isolated. Eli Drake eventually wins the match with the gravy train as Storm makes the save for him. So Storm is now a tag team champion. This is a division Storm's very familiar with. This one's a C for his hard work. After the match, Storm bows down to the Rock and Roll Express. What a goon. So now it's a D. Match 9, the champions Storm and Drake versus Josephus and Mins. Storm has another fight with the Hangover guy. Maybe he'll put him away in seconds again. Well, I'm disappointed as Storm takes him down by his arm and tags out. Storm's back in now with Mims and gets a 2 count on him. The champions work together next as they seem to be having an easy match. Then the match ends as Storm and Drake hit a fireman's carry into a backstabber combination. This one was pretty low key, so it's a D. Okay, I just looked it up. Josephus passed away in June of this year. Damn. Match 10, tag title match. The Bouncers with Pope versus James Storm and Eli Drake with Eddie Kingston. Jesus, look at the size of big Brian Malonis. He must be 6'4" and 400 pounds. They certainly look like bouncers. Storm comes in and manages to get a 2 count on him. James Storm gets distracted by the Pope on the outside, and then when he turns around he gets a big time Samoan drop, and I was okay with this. He then gets squashed by a big time back senton. The big man starts taking his top down as everyone in the crowd cringes. The Beer City Bruiser comes in and he bites Storm in the corner. The bigger man then comes back in and he starts squatting on Storm's face in the corner. Not seen that one before, probably a good thing. The Cowboy eventually hits an enziguri and he brings Drake in. The Cowboy goes airborne to the outside as he has to combat their size. The big man hits Storm with an almost black hole slam. I actually quite like this Bouncers team to be fair. Storm eventually ends up on the top but his partner saves him. He hits a sunset flip powerbomb on Brian Malonis. Drake and Storm follow it up with a double slam on the big man. Andre and Hogan, this was not, but it was still pretty cool. Then the match ends as Storm hits the last call and Drake hits an elbow. Very enjoyable match and it was something a bit different, so I give it a B. Nice tag match. Match 11, NWA Wrestling at the Chase, National Heavyweight title. The challenger, James Storm versus the champion, Chris Adonis. I'm not really a big fan of Chris Adonis if you can't tell from my videos. I've never seen him do anything to excite me. Adonis sends Storm to the outside, who skins the cat and hits the Lou Thesz press. Storm goes outside and boots Adonis in the head whilst he's on the ring apron. This match is moving at 2 miles an hour as both men slowly brawl on the outside of the ring. Adonis then comes back into the ring with a weak looking double axe, more like a double ass. Russian leg sweep, but it's a 2 count. Adonis continues to put a sleeper on, which put me to sleep as it lasted for 5 minutes. When I woke up, Adonis is throwing Storm into the corner, but he seems to enjoy it like Al Snow from 1999. The Cowboy fires up with some familiar offense, but Adonis shuts him down with an exciting elbow. Adonis wants to hit another axe handle, but he takes too long and Storm kicks him. Something new happens now as Storm hits a top rope Frankensteiner. That was cool to see. The Cowboy follows up with the Eye of the Storm for a 2 count. James Storm then hits the code breaker and signals that he wants to hit the last call, which Adonis blocks. He hits the spinebuster, but it's just a 2. Storm does manage to fight off a master lock attempt, but instead he gets hit with a full Nelson slam. Adonis starts messing around with a bottle of beer and starts dripping it over the referee. Whilst that's going on, Storm recovers and the Cowboy hits the super kick. 1, 2... Oh no, Adonis gets his foot on the rope, it's not over. Storm is wasting time arguing and it costs him because Adonis rolls him up with his feet on the ropes. More beer gets thrown over the referee after the match. He's not having a good night. It was fine, it's a C. Match 12, final match. I honestly can't believe this one. Ish Jadius with James Mitchell. This man was Murphy in TNA. He looked like a cheap version of Sean O'Hare with a gelled up receding hairline. He takes on our guy the Cowboy, and this match only happened like a week ago, so it's definitely the most recent wrestling I've watched. Talking on TNA flashbacks, Velvet Sky is on commentary. Storm pushes the jobber into the corner and he starts messing around pretending he knows martial arts. Jadius starts cheating to get the advantage. The match is thrown out because they won't stop brawling. Oh well, who cares? From what I can tell, Murphy is still incredibly bland and terrible. This was an S because everything involving the man called Murphy can shove it. Thank you for recommending this, Caleb. It's a shame it couldn't go on YouTube, and thank you for bearing with me, my friend. I'll certainly keep you off my list of people who deserve a punch to the gut. So I think it's fair to say that Storm is still very good at what he does, and he seems to be having a lot of fun in the NWA. I'm going to give Storm a C. It would be a B. It's very close. I had to think about it. But the problem is with James Storm, there isn't any progression. Nothing seems to be changing for him. If he wants to become the world champion, he needs to change, and do it quickly, because time is not on his side. Overall, they're a really fun run of matches. Obviously, his NWA run is ongoing at the moment, but at the time this request was made, it was pre-COVID, and it looked possible that there wouldn't be any more NWA power. And if you don't agree with that, I'll beat you across the face until you cower.